So it's Sunday. What time is it?
I have no idea.
12:23.
Oh, really? It's that early? I thought it was like 2.
Nope. Pretty warm day. It's not as bad as it was yesterday, though.
Not yet. I'm not made for this.
Made for what? Heat?
Heat.
Neither are our trees, apparently. We're in our backyard on our porch swing, and we have I don't know what type of tree it is, but it's shedding leaves. They're like turning brown and shriveling up and dying.
That should be a sign to you that maybe this is too hot.
It is too hot. It doesn't get... I mean, Albuquerque has a pretty big reputation of being hot like Phoenix, but it's not. It's warm in the summers and sunny, and definitely hot for your Oregon blood. But it's been...
My Oregon blood is made of seafoam and beer.
And crab meat.
And crab meat, mostly, yeah.
But
and
yeah.
The cold veins of winter.
Yes. But our trees are definitely not liking this. I have a little willow in the front yard that is definitely shriveling. It's not as big as our big tree in the back, but
We've been watering it like crazy, and it's like just barely hanging on.
yeah. It's been hot, but today's not so bad. But
Father's Day.
it is Father's Day.
Dia de los Padres.
Dia de los Padres. Yep. I had something to say about the heat. And Facebook.
Oh,
And criticism. Having a critical spirit.
okay. That is like a lot of.
It is a lot.
Rolled up into
It
one.
is a lot.
But go ahead. I'm curious to
So-
hear what you have to say.
I don't know who I was talking to about this. Maybe it was... Oops. We're like making a lot of noise.
I know, moving furniture.
Maybe it was... I think it might have been a conversation I was having with somebody in Portland. Maybe. But 30s is for like reflecting and kind of just thinking. Is it metacognition? You heard of that?
Yeah, but I
Metacognition. I think it's just a psychology term, but we use it in education.
couldn't
Like
define it for you, but
like the top of the it's not Maslow's. It's
hierarchy.
there's another pyramid that we use in pedagogy. But if you can get a kid to metacognition, like thinking, like self-reflection and thinking about thinking, I'm going off on all sorts of tangents.
That's okay. Father's Day.
But
Is that what you want to talk
so
about?
yeah, it's my episode.
Congratulations. That's all you do.
But in your 30s, that's what you do. At least that's what I do. And the person I was talking to, like, they agreed.
This is
like-
Andrew, I think.
Might have been Andrew, yeah. Like when you're in your 30s, like 20s is for exploration, and 30s is just like reflecting. And for me, I reflect about everything. But
I sort of feel like the 30s for me is like shell shock.
yeah,
Maybe that's a little bit of reflection too, but
because of our kids.
just yeah, I don't know. I think about like when I thought of 30 back in the day when I was like 16, that just seemed so far away. And
Yeah,
I mean, I remember saying things like, well, when I grow up, I'm gonna blah blah blah.
Right.
And now I'm a grown up.
yeah.
And I'm like, this is it? Like, wow, I hope I didn't let my like 16 or 12-year-old self down or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just not what you think it's going to be ever. I don't think.
No, I completely agree.
I mean, that's good and bad though. Like, I'm not just saying like, oh, it's a big disappointment. That's not what I mean. I just mean you can try to plan, but like I think when you hit your 30s, there's just a lot of things that come to the surface that you're like you said, reflecting on, and you kind of start to realize or take note of, and you're like, oh, I'm taking a personal inventory of everything I've done up until now, and it's kind of nuts.
Right. Yeah, it does. When you're a kid, 30s for sure feel far off. Like, I remember when I was a kid asking my dad how old he was, and he said, 30 something. I was like, whoa, you're 30 something?
You
That's
are a
insane.
grown-ass man.
You are old.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we are here in our 30s, and
I feel like when you're a teenager, though, the timeline kind of stops when you're like 21. Like you're like, I don't know, you kind of go from like being a teenager and you're like, well, when I'm a teenager, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get my driver's license. And then after that happens, you're like, well, when I'm 18, I'm going to do blah. And then when that happens, you're like, well, when I'm 21. And then it's like, after 21, like you're going, okay, so I made it. Like,
right.
like where to?
Like what next? Yeah, I remember when I turned 18. I turned 18 right after graduation, And I grew up in Moriarty, where there were, let me think, there were 2 truck stops. One was better. Rip Griffin's was a lot better.
Yeehaw.
But there was a convenience store, Circle K. And when I turned 18, right after I graduated, everybody's like, oh, what are you going to do now? You're going to buy some cigarettes and porn?
And you're like, is that what people do when they're 18? Like, I've been waiting my whole life for that? Probably not.
I was like, A, I don't smoke. B, buying porn is kind of awkward.
I'm a girl. That never was the first thing that crossed my mind when I turned 18, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but, and then 21, yeah, liquor, whatever. But, yeah, back to 30s and Facebook.
You were saying something about Moriarty, though. Did you want to finish the truck stop thing?
Oh, no, that's just... I grew up in Moriarty, and
Maybe
that Circle K is what made me think of turning 18. Like, if I were to buy porn and cigarettes, it would have been at that.
And it's a trucker's, like, paradise.
Well, yeah, but the truckers didn't stop at the Circle K.
Oh.
Travelers did.
Oh, so it was
for
more
sure.
of a family-oriented Circle K?
Yeah, and
Okay.
the nudie mags
Ew.
were covered, but you knew they were there.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, 30s, you know, I feel bad for you a little bit.
Why?
Because I've spent like the past 7 years of our marriage just thinking about things.
Hey!
Oh.
First of all, that's your tricycle. Second of all, you can share the empty Windex bottle that has water in it now. Because we're so ghetto, we finally went to the dollar store.
No, we're
and
not
bought
ghetto.
squirt
We
guns.
recycled.
We made a squirt gun out of a Windex bottle.
Because
It's clean.
and
I washed it. I sanitized it, but
squeaky clean. And it's hot, so you need to stay cool.
and it has a mister. It has like 2 settings. It's like a 2-setting squirt gun.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, share with your brother. You guys just got a bunch of toys at the dollar store. Play with them. Did we try to buy our kids affection today? Absolutely. It costed us about $5.
Well, I get pretty excited in the dollar store, so.
I think everybody does because it's like that whole world is like everything's
Yeah.
a dollar.
Although I feel a little bad about the backstory, but then that goes away after I see everything for $1.
It's almost like your senses get heightened and it's like the Vegas of shopping.
Then your morals go out the window. You're like,
that's right. Yes, I do need a giant candy bar for $1. Oh wow, flip flops. Well, they're only $1.
And the dollar store I hear is like a teacher's like paradise. You can buy everything you need for your classroom.
You hear or you know?
I hear. Well, I am a teacher, but I am also still an incredibly cheap person. So
Hence
even
the dollar store.
even for the dollar store, like,
I keep hearing fire trucks. Like something's on
our
fire.
state is on fire.
I can smell
It
it.
is. It's
smells like
hot and it's
burning rubber
dry.
everywhere.
Yeah. The humidity was at 5% yesterday.
Do you smell this?
I do.
It's like
Our state's on fire, like
Whoa.
literally. So back to being 30. Like and for me, I think about a lot of stuff, and a lot of times I think about stuff after the fact.
Riley, don't eat chalk. Welcome to our life.
Yeah,
Tell him no.
he'll figure it out. I'm gonna try to finish a thought.
Good luck. I'm sorry. I'm just watching our 2-year-old like lick chalk. Like it is the best ice cream he's ever had.
He's making eye contact with us.
It's weird. Can you stop that? That is so weird. Draw a picture, Riley.
Okay.
I'm gonna go take it.
All right. So I'm gonna continue my thought, even though I wanted Lindsay to hear it. She can hear me from there. All right. So
I don't know, son.
on Facebook, I like to post a lot of stuff about the weather.
Yes.
And yesterday at about 10 o'clock at night, it was still night in the 90s.
We bought an extra fan yesterday because our house is so dang hot.
It was hot. So it was 91 degrees at like 10:30 at night. And I posted it on Facebook. And one of the teachers at my school posted something about big, like passing through Phoenix.
Oh, you mean the devil's armpit?
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. Like
What was the city?
I have a super critical. It helped me think about the way I think and how critical I am, because I.
Just one more. The fiery tombstone of Hades?
Yes,
Okay.
that place. I'm very critical of other places. What's up?
What is in his mouth now? literally just there. You're critical of other places. I'm gonna go see what's in our sons now.
So, on Facebook, this is why this podcast is called Parenting versus Podcast, because Lindsay and I, we like to talk about things. It's like a creative outlet. We're both pretty creative. We like to talk about things. We like to express our thoughts and viewpoints and all that good stuff. But it's hard when you're a parent. All this stuff is going on. So there's definitely a break. There's definitely a break in the podcast here because stuff's
Feel free to laugh at
happening.
us if you want to.
Yeah. Whatever.
You okay, buddy?
He's okay. He's okay.
That dog poop smell is still here.
Dog poop smell is still here.
Well, we have dogs, so.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. All right. On Facebook, I posted about being 91 last night at 10:30, and a teacher that I work with, he's like, "Wow, I passed through Phoenix one time. It was triple digits in the middle of the night," and I was like, "Whoa, that." And here was my response, and this is what made me think about what I was thinking about.
Did you ask him if he met Satan?
No, I didn't ask him that.
Sorry.
What I said was, I said, "Wow, that's awful. It's beyond me why anybody would live in Phoenix." I said that, and I didn't realize how critical it was, and I didn't realize people who I'm friends with, and maybe family with, live in Phoenix. So my Aunt Sylvia was like, "Well, we live in Phoenix," and I was like, "Oh, right, like my Aunt Sylvia lives in Phoenix. She probably really likes Phoenix." And what I said was a very critical thing about Phoenix, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was thinking about how I need to just watch what I say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a critical person, and sometimes it comes out on Facebook.
I think a lot of people's criticisms come out on Facebook. But, that's either here nor there. It's like people are entitled to their opinions, and if you don't like Phoenix, don't live in Phoenix.
That's true. It's probably what people think of Albuquerque or Portland or wherever.
I don't think anybody thinks that about Portland.
You're probably right.
Oh, the snobbery.
Maybe that's what's wrong with Portland, is the snobbery.
Could be. Could very well be. But
Yeah.
now you just sound critical, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
See,
it's-
all that for that stupid thought about Facebook. Like, how ridiculous.
Well, no, because I've seen some really, really good, juicy arguments on Facebook. And sometimes I like to play devil's advocate. And I like to just say things that I know are going to upset people. Not because I want to upset people, but because I want people to think. Although it probably more than, 90% of the time just upsets people.
Facebook kind of just upsets me.
Yeah, Facebook is kind of stupid. Like, I don't think you should take anything seriously that anybody says on Facebook because it's so easy to just run your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I like to play devil's advocate and just say, well, what about da-da-da-da, and see what people do and see what their reaction is, just because I like to see where people stand and, if they can actually defend their argument logically, or if they actually have reasons for feeling the way they do,
Yeah.
or if they're just, spewing, pointless facts or
Do you feel weird about putting stuff on Facebook?
slogans.
Because me and you, we are not shy about putting stuff on the internet. Like, we're talking right now. I'm going to post this on a blog, which is going to go to a RSS feed, which is going to go to iTunes. Like, our thoughts are out there. We both write blogs. We both post our stuff on Facebook. Like, we're not shy about that. Like, do you feel weird about that?
Yes. Not because I feel like I shouldn't or like I'm afraid to. I really don't. I'll be blunt with you. I really don't care what people think of me. You can agree with me or not. That's your right.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I respect people a lot when they disagree with me because it's a good conversation if we can have it respectfully. The issue I have is when people say, not to say or do something because it's quote unquote offensive. I get there's borderline offensive with some things,
Mm-hmm.
and there's tasteful offensive, but there's also things where, am I just having to inhibit myself because that's not what you think or what you believe or how you feel about something? I think there's a difference, between disagreeing with something and saying something offensive. Does that make sense? Do you get what I mean, it's hard to explain. I'm trying to think of a good example, and I have one, but I really don't want to say it.
So,
Also, because of where I work, and I'm not going to go into detail about that, there might be some things that I believe that are contrary to what the majority of people who support my work believe. I'm not talking about coworkers. I'm talking about
Just like the general,
affiliated entities.
the general idea in a place like
Right.
where you work.
Right. And so, while I may disagree with some things, I do understand that that I need to watch what I say in that respect. And that's professional. And
Yeah.
there have been times where I've posted something and then, you know, like I had someone call me out and say, hey, you know, maybe don't say that. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
makes sense. But it's one of those things where,
It's a little frustrating though.
well, it's hard to not be able to, like, say your full opinion. But at the same time, I do understand, like I'm choosing to work where I work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in that sense, I'm also choosing to abide by a certain format of expectations. And that I can do because it's just Facebook. I'm not, you know, it's just Facebook. If it means I have to be a little more conservative in what I decide to post or what I don't post, then so be it. No big deal. You know, I have a blog and I can let it out there. I have friends. I can have conversations. I have a small group at church. We can talk about those things if we want to talk about them. So there's other places for those outlets. It doesn't necessarily have to be on social media.
Right.
So
I agree. And that might be part of the reason why we enjoy this, I think, because we can kind of say, we can't say everything. Like, we can't say everything on this, but we can be kind of honest, right?
I would hope we can be super honest.
Yeah. But, like, you're not going to go into detail about your work. I mean, we're talking about details.
No, because
but
my work is neither here nor there
Yeah.
In regards to this podcast.
Yeah.
If you want to know where I work, we can have a conversation about that over a cup of
Yeah.
coffee, and we'll
But
talk about it.
I get what you're saying, though. Like, I'm in the same situation working at a school. If I'm frustrated about, like, a parent, well, for me, it goes into federal, like, law. There's,
Yeah. Well, because you're
FERPA.
representing that
Is it FERPA?
workplace.
FERPA?
HIPAA.
Well, there's HIPAA for medical, and there's FERPA for education. Like, I'm not going to go in and, like, vent my frustration about a specific student or a specific parent and name names and stuff like
No.
that on Facebook.
That's not the time or the
But-
place to do it.
But if I wanted to vent about a politician, like, I vent away.
That reminds me of, like, there was this incident, like, a couple years ago. I remember it was, like, a state employee, and they were driving, like, a state vehicle, and they were at the casino. Do you remember this? It was on the news. They were, like, at the casino during work hours, and so it was, like, this big thing because there was, like, a state vehicle at a casino during work hours, and they were like, this looks really bad. Like, you can't be doing this. And I get that. It's your turn to go pry stuff out of his mouth.
No, he's fine.
Happy Father's Day.
He is okay. I can see him.
Okay. Oh, it's bread.
It's toast.
It's actual food this time.
Yes.
Good job, buddy.
Don't draw attention.
I won't make eye contact. Look away.
Too late.
It's like a
Anyway,
velociraptor.
state vehicle.
Yeah, so it was like a big deal because even though the guy may have just been there on like a lunch break or something, like, and it may have been totally innocent, I don't know. The way it looked and the way it was representing like state employees was really bad. So I kind of get that.
Yeah. That's neat.
Swell.
Swell.
Cool story, bro.
What does that have to do with the Facebook, though?
Well, I'm just saying, like, you have to watch, like, you have to draw that fine line between where you work and the respect you, like, what you're representing and how you represent it
Yeah.
and who's watching.
I think you might be a little bit more under watch if you work at a Christian organization, though. Just gonna say.
Yeah, well, that's, like I said, that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm going to get into on here.
No.
But yeah, well, I mean, when I worked at the juvenile detention center, there were certain things that we could and couldn't do, and certain things we could and couldn't say. Like, we were not allowed to, like, write into the press or write into a newspaper with our opinion, like, under our name. We had to make it anonymous, if anything. We were not allowed to talk to the press if there was an ongoing investigation or there was something that happened or, you know, whatever. We were not allowed to, like, comment on it or make any comments. They have a spokesperson for that. We're not allowed to participate in any, like, politically driven rallies, like, where we could be identifiable and linked back to our job. So, I mean, same thing. Like, it's they didn't want you to be represented in one way or another.
Yeah.
Politically or
Yeah.
religiously or whatever. But, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I get it too. But our stuff is out there, mine and yours.
Yeah.
We post on Facebook, we post on Twitter, we post on Instagram.
Snow is
Um,
still here.
Yeah. We have dogs.
Yeah.
See, this is where this truly is parenting versus podcast. I've already said it. This is twice, but this is like real life. It's hard to.
This is real.
It's hard to have a conversation.
Yeah.
It's hard to finish a thought.
We were.
But go ahead.
Sorry. Do you remember how? Okay, so in our small group, we were talking about how, going back to social media, how people always post these like glorious pictures of like, I just love my kids, and we're running through a field of daisies, and everything is so great, and my kids never ever do anything bad, and they're so wonderful, and I just love those little bundles of joy. And while that may be true on a good day, nobody ever posts like the crappy pictures. And so for our small group, we started doing this thing where we would like send pictures of just like really funny like parenting day to day just like ridiculousness, and we'd hashtag it like hashtag this is real life. Like I think there was one where I like had literally changed 2 of our kids and they had poopy diapers, and then 5 minutes later I had to change another poopy diaper for each of them, and I was like hashtag this is real life. Like,
yeah, I think we should actually do it. I mean, me and you, I mean, when you're so happy with your children, because there are times when you are so happy with them, you just love them so much, they make you, because they do, they really do, but they also, on the opposite end, they make you super frustrated. But
let's be honest, our kids can really piss us off sometimes.
They really do piss us off a lot of the times. But when are you, I mean, you are more likely to be posting stuff about your kids when they're making you so happy, when you look at their face and you just love them, and that happens pretty often. So when we see those things, yeah, we post. But I think that would be funny if we were to, like, throw a couple of those pictures on when, you know.
like when Luke gets car sick and pukes in the backseat of our car, like, multiple times.
Yeah,
or... And we're never prepared for it, even though it happens, like...
Or Riley whining for an entire day.
Yeah, an entire day.
He's 2, so life does not...
Make sense?
Make sense right now for him.
He just, like, knows emotions.
He's going through his 2-year-old crisis, yeah.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, no, there was a period yesterday where... We were driving back from Chama, and this would have been a good one for This Is Real Life. Now our son's crinkling the dead leaves around us.
Hey, Luke, can you go over there and play in the pool?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
Go ahead.
So we decided to take the long way home from Chama, right?
It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. And I'm, like, reveling in how gorgeous this is, and I'm like, good decision. Like, we made a good choice. Like, who cares if it's an extra hour in the car? Good choices all around. We get to the Colorado-New Mexico border, like coming back into New Mexico, and Luke is telling us he's going to get car sick. Riley's like screaming and throwing a temper tantrum, and I'm not going to say why because he's right here and then it'll start. We get out of the car and I'm like, okay, don't do that to the dog, please. That's not nice. And I'm like, okay, we had some ginger ale that we bought for our little camping trip. So I was like, I'm going to get a ginger ale, like, for these kids. Maybe they'll mellow it out. You know, Luke was saying he was feeling car sick, so I was like, okay, maybe this will help you. We get out of the car. I open the trunk up and I have like 4 cans of ginger ale roll out of like the car onto the ground with like a huge force of nature. They explode in my face up in the air.
I think what happened is they started to roll out, and then you got freaked out, and then you tried to close the door, and you smashed like 4 of the cans all at once.
I don't know what happened, but it was like the perfect storm of altitude and like frenzied like ginger ale madness. It was just like, and we're on the side of the road. People are driving by and like honking at us, and I'm like spraying ginger ale everywhere, all over me.
While we're getting like mauled by a swarm of mosquitoes.
Yeah, we were literally like attracting them like crazy, and they were eating like they were all over our arms, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Now that we look back on it, it was like a National Lampoon's like Chevy Chase moment where.
But it was like that moment like an hour ago where I was like, this is so great. I was like, forget this. Why did we think this was a good idea? I hate this. I hate it. And I was just so mad. And I'm sticky. And the kids are crying. And they're like, I want my ginger ale.
And in my mind, I had this like picture perfect moment where we're going to take a picture next to the New Mexico sign. Luke, go over there, please, dude.
It's okay. The birds will eat it.
I do love my kids.
Well, no, it's just funny because Lorenzo's like, let's take a picture by the New Mexico sign. And I'm like, no. I don't want to. I want to get in the car and I want to leave this place.
You sprayed ginger ale probably like 4 times yesterday. Sprayed out of the car, and then I tried to put it in Luke's sippy cup because he was getting
irate.
He was getting car sick, so we thought we'll put ginger ale in the sippy cup
with straws.
Yeah, it's one of those Costco sippy cups, the little straw that pops up.
The little
But when
button.
you push it down, it's airtight, and the pressure starts to build inside. And when you open up the thing, it sprays everywhere.
So ginger ale
So-
sprays straight up.
It sprayed straight up by Luke,
Like a
and
geyser.
then Lindsay had it in the car, and she sprayed it, and then when we got home, she opened it
I
again,
forgot, and I was like gonna open it and clean it out, and it was like
and
all
it
over our
sprayed all
kitchen,
over our kitchen,
on the
like
ceiling, and
It-
on my face.
it was pretty
my
bad.
hair everywhere.
And it also sprayed on my
And
and
your
it
face,
sprayed on
too.
Luke's face in the car.
Yeah, we were all sticky and
Yeah.
ginger ale-y, and the mosquitoes probably thought it was a great day
Yeah.
in New Mexico
Um,
because of our.
Luke, you want to
shenanigans.
sit next to me? You can if you want.
Just like sharks.
You just like sharks? Okay, cool. What's your favorite shark?
Black tip, and my favorite ray is stingray.
Cool.
I like jellyfish, but anyway, so it
Oh,
was a crazy.
it was a crazy day. I was so mentioning. I think I might have mentioned this before, but there was a podcast, The Bad Christian, and
Oh, really?
yes,
Is there any other?
no, just The Bad Christian. There are others I listen to, but
I'm sure.
they were talking about how this point of your life. Did I already mention this? This part of our lives
Yeah.
is the worst part of your life, like mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally. This is the worst part of your life. They were talking about marriages and like how this might be the biggest test to any marriage is like when you have little kids.
So hang in there. If you have little kids and you're dying,
Yeah,
hang in there.
It's hard.
I would like to say it gets better, but we don't know yet.
Yeah. It's also during this point of our lives, it's easy to compare. Going back to social media, it's easy to compare your life. You're like, man, look at so and so. They just have perfect kids, and their kids.
Everybody has it
Their
together.
kids obey and like them, and like they're just so nice. And why are my kids?
Insane.
Why do my kids hate me? And
I don't think our kids hate us. I just think that they're testing us constantly.
Yeah.
They maybe like to play devil's advocate with our sanity a little bit.
and it's easy to take your frustrations off on each other too. Just gonna say that.
So, well, and I was talking to my friend in Portland, and we were talking about parenting because she's a new parent, and like we say this all the time, but the things that you need to succeed in this time in life so far that we've learned, that we're still learning, is I'll boil it down to 3. 1, you need other friends with kids because it makes you feel like, okay, I'm not alone and these people can relate to me. And then you share stories and you're like, oh wow, like that happened to you? Okay, I'm not a total like societal reject and my children aren't heathens and like little like monsters.
Right.
I don't know why I said heathens because that's not what I meant.
Little heathens.
Little heathens. They might be, I don't know. You know, so it makes you feel like you can be validated a little in your parenting journey and struggle. And then 2, you need to take intentional time for each other, like dates. We are lucky enough to have people that watch our kids to help us out with that. Even if you don't have people to watch your kids, switch off with somebody, like we always say, find somebody who will swap with you. You know, pay a babysitter if you have to. It's a small price for your sanity. Even if you can only do it once a month, do it.
I think honesty too, like you're saying, because in our culture we have a tendency to show our best faces.
Yeah.
And if you're a parent and you're looking around, you're looking at everybody's best faces and you're comparing, you're like, man, I am failing at life. I am miserable. This is awful. And you're going to wonder why my life isn't like best faces on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you have friends who you're honest with, you can, like you said, relate to them and you can say, oh man, I don't feel so terrible.
Well, you know, it's funny because that's something that actually, and I'm going to say this is super embarrassing actually for me to say.
Why?
Because it just is.
Okay, what is it?
Not for me, but like for our 5-year-old here. So a couple things. So one time I was at Chick-fil-A with my mom. She wanted to get Chick-fil-A. And our oldest was probably about 2.5 or 3. And he was playing in the little play area at Chick-fil-A.
Freshly potty trained.
Freshly potted.
He had just graduated, I think, from
Yeah.
a pull-up to undies.
Undies. Yeah. And so all of a sudden we're sitting there eating and, you know, we're by the little window and I see all these kids like busting out of that play area like it was on fire. And they were like running and screaming and they're like, somebody peed in the play area. Ah! And I'm just like, man, sucks to be that kid's mom. Guess whose kid it was? Oh, it was me. It was my son, Lukey.
Yeah.
I was embarrassed. I actually went in the car and cried, which, like, I just remember, because, you know, okay, so we were in the Northeast Heights. There's all these, like, moms that maybe are from different walks of life, let's put it that way.
Just like the more like wealthy part of town.
Right. They're looking at me totally disgusted, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, he's a kid. Like, I can't control, like, everything. I'm trying here. Like, and I thought, you know, they would be compassionate because they are potty training too, but I got some really dirty looks, and it was really embarrassing. Like, I didn't go back to that Chick-fil-A for probably a year. Like, no joke. And I apologized to the people that work there. I was like, look, I will go in there and clean it. I am so sorry. And they were like, don't even worry about it. It happens all the time. And I was like, really?
Oh, it happens all the time? Okay.
Yeah, and the lady that was cleaning, she's like, this seriously happened like 2 days ago with somebody else. And I was like, are you serious? Oh, thank God. Like, I felt a little better. And then our same son, should I say, do you want to tell that?
So maybe a little bit later because he's
okay, yeah. We should probably save all the embarrassment.
He's sensitive and he's right here.
Yeah, okay.
We love him, but
just know that you're not alone. If your kid, you know, decides to pee in the Chick-fil-A play area and you get blamed, it's okay. Don't blame yourself. They're kids. They're learning, just like you're learning, and it's embarrassing. But you know, other people might act like they're offended, and they might be, but they deal with that stuff at home. They just don't show it.
Yeah. I'm starting to figure out a couple of other things. One, life is super hard.
Yeah.
Life is hard. And two,
you guys, gross. Go play in the water. That's like really gross.
All of the dead leaves that fell off our tree yesterday from the heat,
like,
they're crumpling them up. Take a bunch and crumple them up over there, Luke.
I am giving you permission to go jump on the trampoline and spray the hose if you want to. You heard it here first. Not with the leaves, though.
So life is hard, and one of the things that helps us to get through it is support, I think.
And lots of caffeine.
Lots of caffeine.
Lots of it.
I think support is one of the biggest things. Like, our church, we're talking a lot about community-based stuff, just like being in a community and having that support. I think those are the types of things that help us as humans like get through. We're very social animals.
Well, and it's not even like, I know we say our church group, that's just where we find support. It doesn't have to be church. It can be like a parenting group or a class.
I'm just saying
like
community and like support. Like, if you have a core group of people.
It's gross. Yeah, it is.
It's gross. Yeah.
It is gross.
Our 2-year-old's learning all kinds of words.
It's gross.
So, like, just having support and like a community of whatever to help you get through life, I think, is definitely key.
Yeah, and you got to find where you fit. Like, you've got to find your tribe and find where you fit.
There's a lot of tribes happening right now today.
There's a ton of tribes happening. I don't know, it's just cool. Like, you can, I mean, and that's the thing, like, when I first had Luke, I was pretty lonely. I didn't know any other moms, and so I, like, went to a couple mom groups, and there was one where I was like, probably not for me. But I tried it. But then there was this other one that was, like, not typical, and I met some really cool people there, and I still hang out with some of them. So it's, you know, you just have to find where you fit, find where you can get support, and find the people that understand you.
Yeah. Well, is it time to hang out with our kids? We have been kind of hanging out with them.
It might also be nap time.
Yeah.
I have to go get my dad a Father's Day gift, and it's Father's Day.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day, by the way, to all those dads out there.
Daddies.
From all of our fans. We have probably over 1 million downloads.
Yeah, we're so famous.
We're super famous. Actually, I think it was like 15 last time I checked.
Yay, 15 downloads.
And so they're probably half of them from, like, me.
So all 15 of you
that are
listening, let's make it 16 today. Let's tell a friend.
Happy Father's Day. Dia de los Padres.
Yeah, happy Father's Day. Enjoy your kids. Enjoy being a father, even if it's messy.
Enjoy the heat if you're in New Mexico and Southwest. And I'm sorry, Phoenix, for being so critical. I'm going to try not to be.
Do you want to say goodbye and happy Father's Day, Luke, to everybody?
Say goodbye and happy Father's Day.
Yeah. Goodbye and happy Father's Day. I love you. Have a great day. See you, shark.
All right. With that, we're going to sign off.
Bye.